The 800 meters is where speed meets strategy. In this race, the athletes fought for position, controlled the pace, and waited for the perfect moment to strike. In this video, we analyze the key moves that decided this dramatic final.
But that record by Steve Cram, the games record of 1:43.22, has stood the test of time for a reason. There is Peter Bol of Australia. He'll start in lane number 5. Could he become just the second man to win the Commonwealth title for Australia in this event? Looked good in qualifying, but as did 2 or 3 of the other athletes around him. Big opportunity for Peter Bol, coming off the back of those recent World Championships in Oregon, finished in the top 8 position. Kinyamal of Kenya, though, the reigning champion, will start in the lane inside the Australian athletes.
This has got the makings of a great race, Catherine. Bol is aiming to become the first Australian to win this title in 40 years. Kinyamal aiming to become the first in history to successfully defend the crown. It could be epic.
So here's the start list then for the men's 800-metre final. England, Scotland, Jamaica, Ghana, Kenya and Botswana are represented. Kenya have won this title 9 times. Can Kinyamal of Kenya make that 10 gold medals for Kenya in this 800 metres? Navaski Anderson of Jamaica then will start in lane number 9. Their national champion, 1:45.02 this year. Studies in the USA from Kingston, Jamaica. Jamie Webb of England will start in 8. Looked very good in qualifying, a semi-finalist at the World Championships in 2019, a European indoor bronze medal last year. Also looking good in qualifying, Ben Pattison of England, the 20-year-old. The last 2-3 years, he's absolutely been flying. Alex Amankwa, 1:44.8 at his best. Disqualified at the World Championships. The national record holder from Ghana starts in 6. Peter Bol then of Australia, 4th at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, missed a medal by half a second. He starts in 5. Wycliffe Kinyamal of Kenya, the reigning champion, 8th at the World Championships recently in Oregon. There'll be a huge draw for Scotland's Guy Learmonth. He'll start in lane number 3. 6th at the Commonwealth Games back in 2014, a semi-finalist back in London at the World Championships. Boitumelo Masilo of Botswana ran in the heats of the Rio Olympics back in 2016, inside 1:46 at his best. So the crowd have had a nice little taste of women's middle distance running with that tasty women's 1500-metre final. Potentially they're in for an absolute treat here. The final of the men's 800 metres. Can this athlete, Peter Bol of Australia, hold off the Kenyan charge, hold off the English charge? Going round the first bend for the first time, Kinyamal in lane number 4. Happy to get in to the pole position potentially. They cut across down the back straight.
This is a massive night for Australia after Ollie Hall won the 1500 metres. A little bit of shoulder barging. Remember last year in Tokyo, Bol led until about 30 metres from the finish line, and it's the Jamaican now getting his heels clipped. Anderson on the outside, the Ghanaian just keeping out the way there, Amankwa quite sensibly. Kinyamal, remember, bidding to become the first man in history to successfully defend this title, but there's all sorts going on here as they're jostling for position. The 2 big guns in first and second. Who's going to go for it first?
55.5 at the 400-metre point. It's tight. Keep an eye on Jamie Webb, the English athlete there on the left of your shot, coming onto the shoulder of the Ghanaian. Kinyamal, Bol, Webb. The piercing stare of Webb of England, trying to hold on to the change of pace from Kenya and Australia. Guy Learmonth on the inside for Scotland in 4th.
Kinyamal's going for this. with 200 to go. He makes his bold bid for glory. Bol is hanging on. Remember, no Australians won this for 40 years. But he's falling back here. Can Kinyamal continue to pull away? It's between these two.
Kinyamal, Bol, look at Patterson for England. It's a battle for the gold. It's going to be won by the Kenyan. 147.52, a pat on the shoulder from Peter Bol of Australia, who picks up the silver medal. Brilliant running by England's Ben Patterson to pick up the bronze. But he collapses to the ground. The 25-year-old Kenyan came here to defend his title. Wycliffe Kinyamal of Kenya does pick up the 10th gold medal for Kenya in the men's 800 metres. What a race. Brilliant from the Kenyan.
He went early and he knew he had the high-quality Peter Bol, born in Sudan, now proudly representing Australia. The 800 final last year was the most watched moment from the Olympic Games from the Australian public. He's a massive star, Bol, and that was also a massive performance by the youngster Ben Patterson. He looked really good this season, had a great run in Stockholm. I thought he might feature, but Kinyamal was bold enough to go with about 2:20 left, and despite the fact that Bol went with him, he wound it up, and that is a brilliant way to take the title. No one has ever gone back-to-back victories. He is the first.
Do you know what? If you're going to go into the last 300 a metre down, you've got to know you're a metre quicker than the bloke in front of you. And he wasn't. He finished about a metre down. And Kinyamal, you're right, took the initiative. I think Bol tactically got it 95% right. He maybe should have wanted to be on the card in the lead with 300 to go, and he wasn't. And that's what ended up being decisive. Here it is, down the back straight. They still haven't really hit the hammer flat out here. I mean, it was almost a 250 race, Kath.
It was. Jamie Webb committed, didn't he, and tried to go with the leading two. He ended up in fourth place at 148.6. But Kinyamal here put his foot down. But keep your eye on Ben Patterson, the English athlete who picked up a bronze. 20 years old. The last 3 years, he's taken a second off his lifetime best every single year. A 144.6 runner awarded with a bronze medal here. But no, the Kenyan, not today, not to be denied, and picked up the gold medal in that exciting men's 800 metres. We knew it was going to be a battle, Rob, potentially between these two, and it didn't disappoint.
Oh, it was a brilliant race. He was bold, and as Tim said, that first couple of steps, when you put the accelerator on, if you then run the rest of the race at the same pace, you've already got that half a yard. This is where he really started to motor round this bend. Patterson came from miles back. He was third last at this point, and now comes his charge to get himself on the podium. Everybody's really excited about Max Bergin in England, and Bergin is brilliant, but he keeps getting injured. Patterson stepping out of his young compatriot's shadow. But Kinyamal kept driving, kept pushing, kept believing, and it was the fact that he hit the gas first that just got him over the line.
Well, he's got a personal best of 46.55 seconds over 400 metres, the Kenyan, and the speed was used there to win the gold medal. There's confirmation. Can you pick up the gold with Wycliffe Kinyamal?
The men's 800 meters final at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham produced one of the most gripping middle-distance races of the entire championship. Inside Alexander Stadium, thousands of fans witnessed a race that perfectly captured the brutal beauty of the two-lap event. Patience, positioning, controlled aggression, and a single perfectly timed attack that ultimately decided the outcome. The 800 meters has always been a discipline where tactical intelligence is just as important as raw speed, and this final became a masterclass in how elite athletes manage pressure when medals, national pride, and legacy are all on the line. Before the race even began, the storyline had already formed. Australia's Peter Bol entered the final as one of the most talked-about athletes in the field. His breakthrough performance at the 2020 Summer Olympics, where he reached the final and ran one of the fastest times ever by an Australian, had elevated him into the global elite of the 800 meters. In Birmingham, he carried the hopes of an entire nation, and many observers believed his closing speed and tactical awareness could deliver a historic gold medal. Standing directly in his way, however, was Kenya's Wycliffe Kinyamal, the defending champion from the 2018 Commonwealth Games. The pressure on Kinyamal was enormous. No athlete had ever successfully defended the Commonwealth Games 800-meter title, making his mission historically significant. For Kenya, a nation with a legendary tradition in middle-distance running, another gold medal would reinforce its dominance in the event. For Kinyamal personally, it was a chance to transform himself from a one-time champion into a true championship legend. The rest of the field ensured that this would be no simple two-man duel. Athletes from England, Jamaica, Ghana, Scotland, and Botswana lined up with realistic medal ambitions. Championship 800-meter races often become chaotic, precisely because so many runners possess similar abilities. Small tactical decisions, when to move, where to position oneself, whether to control the pace or wait for the final sprint, can completely reshape the race. As the gun fired, the athletes exploded off the line. But unlike in time trial races, the opening meters were about control rather than reckless speed. The runners quickly converged toward lane 1 after the break line, creating the typical tight pack that defines championship 800-meter racing. Shoulders brushed together, elbows subtly protected space, and several runners clipped heels as they fought for position. In such a compact group, even a momentary loss of balance can destroy an athlete's chances. The first lap unfolded with visible restraint. Nobody wanted to take responsibility for pushing the pace too early, a common strategic decision in championship finals. The runners understood that an overly aggressive opening lap could lead to catastrophic fatigue in the final 200 meters. As a result, the pace stabilized around a controlled rhythm rather than an all-out attack. When the pack crossed the 400-meter mark in approximately 55 seconds, it confirmed what many analysts expected. This would be a tactical race decided by positioning and the final surge rather than pure time. During this phase, Peter Bol executed a particularly intelligent race strategy. Rather than staying boxed in the middle of the pack, one of the most dangerous positions in an 800-meter final, he gradually moved toward the front, ensuring he had clear running space while still conserving energy behind the leaders. His body language suggested patience and confidence, the hallmarks of an experienced championship runner. Meanwhile, Wycliffe Kinyamal remained composed, running with remarkable efficiency just behind the main leaders. The Kenyan appeared calm, almost calculating, as he monitored every move around him. Experienced 800-meter runners often rely on a precise internal clock, an instinctive understanding of when the race is reaching its decisive moment. Kinyamal seemed to be waiting for exactly that. With roughly 300 meters remaining, the atmosphere inside Alexander Stadium intensified dramatically. At this point in an 800-meter final, every athlete knows the race is about to explode. Legs begin to tighten, breathing becomes heavier, and positioning becomes even more aggressive. Several runners attempted small advances on the outside lanes, trying to avoid being trapped when the inevitable sprint began. Bol remained prominently near the front, perfectly placed to respond to any move. Many spectators expected him to launch the decisive attack in the final straight, but the defending champion had other plans. Just after the bell lap began to unfold and the field approached the final bend, Kinyamal made his move. With slightly more than 200 meters remaining, he unleashed a sudden and decisive acceleration. It was not merely a gradual increase in pace, it was a sharp, explosive surge that immediately stretched the field. The Kenyan trusted one of his greatest weapons, extraordinary speed endurance built from years of combining 400-meter strength with 800-meter tactical discipline. That single move instantly changed the dynamic of the race. The tightly packed group that had remained together for nearly 600 meters suddenly began to fracture. Runners who had conserved energy now faced the brutal reality of responding to a championship-level kick. Bol reacted quickly, attempting to match the surge and keep contact with the leader. Behind them, the rest of the field struggled to reorganize as the pace dramatically increased. In championship 800-meter racing, a decisive move at exactly this moment, too late for others to fully respond, yet early enough to sustain the acceleration, can often determine the winner. Kinyamal's timing was perfect. His stride lengthened, his cadence increased, and with every step he created a small but crucial gap. By the time the runners entered the final straight, the defending champion had successfully seized control of the race, proving once again that in the 800 meters, victory often belongs not to the fastest athlete on paper, but to the one who chooses the perfect moment to attack.